So let's talk a little bit about how insomnia develops, right? And here we have, you might recognize this, Pavlov, right? We have the idea of classical conditioning, where two things that are not related, right? The sound of a bell, food, right? Two things that are not related become conditioned, they become connected, right? This is important. Let's go to the next slide, and I'm gonna show you what happens, right? What happens when you have a lot of worrying, right? And you also have a lot of time spent in bed, right? Number one, the worrying leads to time awake, right? Your body says, I can't go to sleep now. There's a bear. There's a bear coming to attack me, right? How can you sleep if there's a bear chasing you, if your body feels like there's a bear chasing you, right? But nowadays, our stressors, they're not bears chasing us, right? They're bills and relationships and functioning, right? And so you sit there and you worry and you worry and you stay awake and you worry and you stay awake. And then you start to worry about your sleeping issue, and it becomes a vicious cycle, right? More than that, it becomes conditioned to the bed, right? So now you have worrying, you have time spent into bed. Has that ever happened to you? You're feeling super tired, and then you get into bed and all of a sudden, bam, wide awake. What is that, right? Your body learned that the bed is a place to worry. The bed is a place to go on your phone and stay up late at night, right? Right? And that's what we see happens. The bed becomes the stimulus for the insomnia. So even if you're not feeling too stressed about your sleep, you get into bed and your body remembers. Your body remembers that this is the place to be anxious. Now, right? The question is, what do you do if you have a bad night, right? Let's say you're an average sleeper, right? And you sleep well most nights. Sometimes you have a bad night. What happens if, like, I don't know, a pandemic hits you, you know? What happens if, you know, a lot of stress financially, relationship, all that kind of stuff, you have a bad night? What do, right? So we want to first think about our body. We want to think about, how do I maximize my chances for success with sleep? How do I make sure that I'm not drinking too much, not drinking too little, not eating too much at bedtime, right? Getting out of bed, right? Don't turn your bed into a place to be anxious. Don't turn your bed into, don't reinforce your body to learn that the bed is a place to worry. We don't want that. So get out of bed, and don't just spend time watching documentaries or reading the dictionary. You want to stay busy, right? So adult coloring books is what I like to talk about. Little Lego games or crossword puzzles. Make sure you're exercising in the daytime. And in general, you want to try to avoid napping, right? Lastly, the caffeine question. I am a big fan of coffee. I think it's important, but you have to be careful, right? It's always a balance. So if you have a bad night of sleep, I have clients that'll tell me, you know, I'm quitting coffee for good now. I want to make sure it doesn't affect my sleep. Coffee does have a long half-life, which means it stays in your body for a while, but it's not all day. So if you're feeling super tired and you can't function, you don't want to think to yourself, oh no, I'm super tired, it's ruining my function. A cup of coffee in the morning is okay. And you know your body. You want to make sure you check in also with your doctor, of course, and with the medications you're taking. But if you normally drink coffee, it's okay. Just don't drink it after, you know, 2 p.m., right? Or 3 p.m., okay?
Hey, Josh, I have one question for you before I move on to the mind side. Just on the get out of bed, is that at night while you're trying to fall asleep, you're worried, get out of bed, or is it also in the morning if you've had a bad night of sleep, don't just lie there thinking, or is it both?
That is a great question. It's both, right? It's both. It's not getting into bed initially until you have a high chance of falling asleep, right? You want to be in full sleep capacity before you get into bed. And if you don't fall asleep right away, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you gave yourself a chance, it's not happening, then you do the first time getting out of bed. And then you also might get out of bed, let's say you wake up at 5 or 6, and then you're spending time tossing and turning, trying to get better sleep, right? Unfortunately, we know that sleep in the morning is not very recuperative, right? That when you're trying to get back to sleep and you're tossing and turning, it's better to cut your losses, get out of bed, and know, okay, I'm rich, okay? I'm rich with sleep deprivation. So tonight, I have a high chance of sleeping tonight, right? Just take the loss.
Oh, that's great.
Become rich. Think about it like that, okay? Rich with sleep deprivation.
That's brilliant. That is just genius. I love it. What a great reframe. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely have mornings where I've woken up extremely rich and I just never thought of it that way. I thought I was deprived. How dumb of me. No, that's great. I think it's a really good reframe. And then you're kind of getting yourself ready for sleep as the day goes on. That's excellent.